Shenmue 3, Half-Life 3, Final Fantasy Versus 13. These games haunted fans for ages, with their existences teased so long ago, an actual release date seemed like an impossibility. We hold out hope for these long shots because Duke Nukem Forever finally saw the light of day after over a decade of being a punchline. If the Duke could come back, anything was possible. After countless delays and one epic name change, the game now known to us as Final Fantasy XV finally arrives in playable form, after 9 years of waiting. Episode Duscae's price of admission isn't cheap. Only those who secure a copy of the initial physical or digital run of Final Fantasy Type 0 will taste a sample of what Square Enix has in store for one of the most anticipated games of all time. But after spending over 2 hours playing around with Noctis and his companions, so affectionately dubbed the Buddies by its creators, it was worth every penny. That's not to say there aren't flaws present. This is a demo after all, but there's a noticeable lack of polish accompanying the fresh coat of paint. You're immediately thrown into the vast region known as Duscae, and after a brief tutorial, you're turned loose into the wild, free to roam about in a fashion that hasn't been seen in a Final Fantasy game in a long time. In fact, the scale and scope of the demo environment, which Square Enix promises is only a fraction of the entire world, is more massive than anything seen in any previous game, including the massive zones found in either of the series' 2 MMOs. It's a sight to behold, but it's clearly still taxing the system as there are frequent dips in the demo's performance. This holds especially true during the combat scenarios, where the action chugs along like it's trying to run a high-end PC game on an aging graphics card. Battles happen in real time, and enemies lurk around every corner. You can arrange Noctis' assortment of blades and spears into a set order to use when in battle to customize your combos, and you can also execute special attacks associated with each unique weapon. There was quite an outcry over the remarks about the simple nature of the combat system, but in action, it's quite different from anything else the series has seen. You can hold down a single button to continuously attack or to automatically dodge, but simply sticking to this strategy won't earn you a victory. Combat is fast-paced, and if you just aimlessly hack away, you'll get dismal results. Instead, battles rely on toggling between 3 states, attacking offensively, countering enemies defensively, and using Noctis' teleport ability to dodge and close the distance on foes quickly. Once you find a rhythm with these 3 components, combat begins to click and goes more smoothly, though it doesn't quite approach the intricacy of a character action game, nor does it require fast reflexes. Another major change is the manner in which you progress through the demo. You're given an initial objective to track down a behemoth in order to slay it for a bounty to pay for your car's repairs. But as you begin to explore the area, you'll come across new objectives you can tackle at your leisure. These appear in your menu, and at any time you can toggle your active goal, which places a waymark on screen, letting you know what direction to head and how far away it is. It's something you wouldn't expect in a Final Fantasy game, but it's another example of how 15 is trying to do something different. Though most of the secondary objectives involve hunting down an enemy or finding an item, the quest to track down the behemoth takes you into some radically new territory for the series. While pursuing the beast in his domain, there's a fog-filled sequence where you have to carefully follow the monster without losing sight of it. Once you arrive in its domain, a series of contextual situations play out, where you have to carefully sneak through tight passages while the behemoth feasts on prey. Once you finally arrive in its lair, your buddies outline a plan to take it down. An action-packed sequence follows, ending in you standing triumphantly over its corpse or running away. Even after you think you've completed your task, you're forced to flee for your life in dramatic fashion. The notion of a boss you can't defeat is nothing new to the series, but the manner in which it's presented is drastically different here. No longer do you have to die and have a cutscene play out as the payoff. Now you're in control of the action. After recovering, you have to find refuge by either making camp for the night or heading to the Wiz Chocobo outposts and resting in a camper trailer, this game's version of the classic inn. You overhear the shopkeeper warning tourists not to venture into a nearby cave, which prompts your team to investigate. Inside the dark, cold cavern lies a new type of horror, goblins. They ambush you at the most unexpected moments, like when you're trying to look over an edge or crawl through a tight space. Like the behemoth sequence before, there's a lot of tension, courtesy of these cinematic situations. After fighting your way through hordes of these monsters, you're rewarded with a new ability. Noctis is granted the power to summon the almighty Ramuh if he's near death. With this awesome power in your hands, you can head back to Behemoth's domain for a final encounter. You call forth Ramuh, who snatches up a wounded Noctis and soars upwards into the heavens to deliver divine retribution on the helpless behemoth. When you return to the surface, all that's left is a smoldering carcass. You're now free to claim the bounty and pay the bill on your car's repairs, which grants you access to the coveted automobile. Unfortunately, you can't drive around freely in the vehicle, nor even ride one of the chocobos you encountered earlier, but you're treated to a special ending video that reveals a few new details about the game's story. You're then free to replay the demo from the point before you drive away, but other than revisiting any areas you might have missed, completing any remaining secondary tasks, and finding the behemoth roaming the lands waiting to be slain again, there's no extra content waiting for you. The demo goes a long way towards restoring our faith in the upcoming game, and there are some bold new concepts being showcased for the first time. If episode Duscae is anything to go by, Final Fantasy XV is a ways to go before it's anywhere near a finished product. But for now, we're satisfied with this sample of what's to come. Here's hoping we don't have to wait too much longer for the full experience.